We're facing a grave terrorist threat and need to give any help necessary to the police and to the intelligence services. That, at least, is the clear message from government. But can we trust the security services to be transparent? And are we entitled to use examples from Northern Ireland, the last time Britain was told it was under terrorist threat, as a guide? Nina Tegerty reports now on a case that raises disturbing questions about the conduct and transparency of Britain's intelligence services.
Colleen was very friendly, just a great person to get along with, and on the night in particular we'd been carrying on about an hour before, and unfortunately then she was murdered.
A colleague and friend of RUC Constable Colleen McMurray. He's asked for his voice and face to be disguised. He remembers the night in 1992 when she was killed by an IRA bomb in Newry, a town in County Down.
At the debriefing there was a lot of tears and whatnot that night because of who had been hit. She was that good a girl, you know. I think it's just got worse as time has moved on.
Colleen McMurray was killed immediately, and her colleague Paul Slane, sitting beside her that night in the police car, lost his legs. He was later seen by millions around the world receiving the George Cross from the Queen on behalf of the Royal Ulster Constabulary. Colleen McMurray's death is one in a very long list of victims of Northern Ireland's conflict. At the time, this was Britain's war against terrorism. But now her murder is one of a series of new, extraordinary cases being brought before the attention of Northern Ireland's police ombudsman. Set up after the Good Friday Agreement to look into cases of alleged collusion between security forces and paramilitaries, the police ombudsman has been inundated with new cases. Cases which, like McMurray's death, raise important questions about how British institutions are fighting the new war against terrorism.
One of the saddest things about the collusion, which has indubitably been taking place in Northern Ireland for many, many years, is that members of the security forces, police officers and soldiers, have been casualties of shootings and bombings and attacks that could have been prevented. And her case is one of many cases that raise those kind of concerns.
The police and the army in Northern Ireland had to use unconventional methods to infiltrate terrorist organisations. Special branch and military intelligence will argue that to secure such a high level of penetration into those terrorist organisations, you could not operate by using conventional policing techniques. You had to be unconventional. The question is, did the unconventional nature of those intelligence gathering techniques mean that agents inside the IRA, inside the UVF, had to be protected? And did protecting those agents mean that sometimes soldiers and police officers were sacrificed?
This is Kevin Fulton. For many years he played a dangerous double game, a secret agent for MI5 working inside the provisional IRA. He now lives in hiding and has decided to talk about his experiences because he feels let down by the British state.
I was told I had the full blessing of the Prime Minister. The Prime Minister was seeing the briefings on myself, on the intelligence that was gathered. The best way to describe it is, effectively I had to become a terrorist. I had to do the things that they were doing. Again, I was reporting all this back to my handlers. Whenever it could be done, operations by the IRA were frustrated, which meant they never got taken place. Sometimes the terrorists were caught and jailed, and sometimes people lost their lives.
Fulton says that he told MI5 via his handler Bob that the attack in Newry, in which Colleen McMurray died, was going to happen. He also says that he passed on details of the bomb's design and the name of the bomb maker. The implication is clear. MI5 officers did nothing to prevent the attack. More 4 News has spoken to other people who worked in intelligence in Northern Ireland at the time, who say they've got no reason to disbelieve Fulton's allegation.
I was surprised with how close to the event he had met with them and debriefed them on the actual makeup of the bomb and how it was used and whatnot, you know. Even the propellant that was used in it. It surprised me that MI5 had been briefed on this. It was just a few days before. Of course the family is totally devastated by it. I mean, it's a government agency. It's a government agency. That shouldn't be allowed to happen.
For 3 years, the Northern Ireland Police Ombudsman's Office have been investigating Colleen McMurray's death, their final report due this month or next. We've learned that the Ombudsman will also be looking into phone calls made to Newry Police Station on the day of the attack that bear out Fulton's allegations. A lot of interest in this case revolves around the identity of Kevin Fulton's handler, the mysterious Bob. Fulton himself is in no doubt.
I now believe Bob is Jonathan Evans. About a month before Jonathan Evans took his post as Director General of MI5, I got a call from a security source that I am still friendly with, and I was told that the person I knew as Bob was now going to be the head of MI5. When the photograph did appear on the website and on the news, I knew straight away that it was Bob.
If Fulton's allegation is true, and Bob is Jonathan Evans, the head of MI5, the man responsible for spearheading Britain's fight against terrorism, it raises the prospect of Mr Evans being called by the police ombudsman to give evidence into the murder of a police officer. Just as his own organisation takes over extra security responsibilities in Northern Ireland. More 4 News has spoken to an intelligence source in Northern Ireland who also identifies Bob as Jonathan Evans and said he met Mr Evans once in a Belfast bar with Kevin Fulton.
But a security source we spoke to emphatically denied that Bob was Jonathan Evans. In fact, this source went further. They said that Mr Evans never actually set foot in Northern Ireland in a professional capacity.
In the murky world of intelligence, who can tell where the truth lies if Bob is or is not Jonathan Evans? But at a time when the police and MI5 are asking for the public's help in the campaign against Islamic terrorism, these sort of allegations are probably the very last thing the authorities want.